I am a person that doesn't think I'm capable of raising a child.
Mm-hmm.
And it's frustrating because my parents think that I will want kids eventually, but at the same time, they're very strong about me not getting pregnant. Like, it's complicated.
Is it your parents that are telling you that you aren't capable? Who's telling you?
No, I believe that I'm not capable of raising a child, and I don't really want children.
Okay.
May I ask how old you are?
21.
21. Okay.
And how is that a conflict for you? What's causing you stress about that, those feelings? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I feel like I don't really have the skills to raise another human being and to care for someone else.
A lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't.
I certainly didn't when I was 21.
Yeah.
It's perfectly natural to feel that you're not ready for that. Is that like making you feel bad that you don't feel like you're ready to be mom?
It's frustrating because a lot of people expect others to want to have children.
They do. And it's really not their place to put their wants, needs, expectations on you. And you're 21, which means you're your own person. And what your parents want at this point is just nice ideas, or maybe not so nice ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't want to have kids, that really is the end of it, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. That's something that having kids, it changes your life in every direction. It changes your life in that it's good and meaningful and all that sort of thing. But there are also things that you give up. There are things that you will never, will not be the same as they would have been if you didn't have kids. It's a choice that entails a lot of difficulty and a lot of, you said you don't feel that you have the ability to do it. I felt that way every day, even as I'm raising my kids. I'm flabbergasted when people act as if it's a thing that everyone should do. It's a thing that only people who really want to do it and are ready to give up a different path. I'm not saying that you have to give up everything in your life, but there are choices that you have to make when you're a parent that I willingly made, I gladly made because I really wanted to be a dad. I really wanted to be a parent. But if you don't have that desire, there's nothing in the world wrong with that. And it needs to be your decision. I think one of the worst things that anyone can do is become a parent when they don't want to. I really think it's one of the most unfortunate choices a person can make. It's not good for the child. It's not good for the children you're going to have.
You're actually being a really responsible adult by not bringing someone into the world that you're not ready to take responsibility for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it's impossible really for anyone to know whether what they're going to do for the first time is something they're going to do well. So there's no way that even your parents, when they had you, could have known that they were capable of being good parents. But what you can know is how you feel about it. So, like Dale, he knew he really wanted a child, and I felt that way, that I would say, actually, I felt like, well, I had my child when I was 41, so the process that I went through was more like, okay, it's now or never. So that's a little bit different. But I do think it is the most responsible thing you could do is to wait until you know you want to have a child. And you may even feel ambivalent about that. But I want to say, too, one more thing about when we are in relationships with people, whether we're their daughters or we're their parents, part of life is disappointing other people because we have to go our own way. So your parents may try to make you feel guilty or bad about whatever. I think that it's okay to let them know, you know, this isn't the path that I'm going to take right now, maybe in the future, and I'm sorry you're disappointed. I don't like to disappoint you. Sorry that that's happening for you.
It's your life.
Don't feel bad about disappointing them because you're making a good choice for yourself.
Well said. Well said. Yeah.
What do you think, Mercy? Has this been helpful to you, or is there something else you feel you want to share?
It's been very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, and travel while you can if that's something you enjoy, because traveling unfettered by children, wow, yeah. I miss it. Not that they're any trouble now. They're old enough that they can take care of themselves, but yeah, do travel if that's something you want, or do all the things that you want to do.
Will you maybe call us back later and just let us know how you're doing for a future show?
Sure.
We'd appreciate it.
Check back with us.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Mercy. Really appreciate your call. Okay. All righty then. So
I feel like I just would like to sit with that a little bit longer. I don't know what time
go
we
ahead.
have.
No, it's you go, girl.
I feel really, I feel sad for people that are made to feel like they can't be who they are. Mm-hmm. Whether that's because you're not fitting in with some norm, because of your choices, or because of your sexual identity, or whatever it might be. I mean, I think what we've been saying since we started the show, that one of the most important roles we have is to allow our children to be who they are. Mm-hmm. So I think those parents are mm-hmm. making a bad choice. They probably don't have much of a understanding of why that's a bad choice, but I wish the best for Mercy, that she's going to be able to make it just stay true to who she is and stay in touch with who she is, because it's her life.
Yeah,
it's not their life.
I was raised by parents who had that sort of parenting style where I was theirs, almost property. And when it came time for me to grow up, leave the house, get married, find my first job, my father was ready to let me go because he knew that was appropriate. My mother said, no, she can't go. She's never going to be, I'm never going to let her go. She's mine. And she lived that. She pushed what she wanted, who she thought I should be, et cetera, and still would today if I were talking with her. So please, if you're a parent, realize that your children are their own persons. And I adore my children, and I would love it if they wanted me in their lives when they grow up. But that's their choice, and if they need to go out into the world and do their thing, please do it. Don't ever let me or your father stand in the way of doing that. The most loving thing I can do is let them be who they are. I had them, and I wanted nothing more than to stay out of their way as much as possible. Let them be who they are.
And, I've loved raising my daughter, but I would never want to make anyone feel like, well, they have to experience that to have a meaningful life.
Yeah.
I remember the last show that you all did, there was a caller that said that she had never had children, and she was trying to deal with feeling like she wasn't fitting in. There was something about that, and I was going to recommend a book called, I think it's called I Kid You Not. And it's actually written by an Austin artist who is in her 60s, and she wrote about what it was like to grow up and become an adult and never have children, and how does she navigate those kinds of things now? Because it's not right for anyone to feel like They need to do someone else's path. And the one thing, Mercy, if you're still listening, I just wanted to say that a lot of the reason why parents sometimes make kids feel like they have to do what the parents did and make the same choices as the parents, so the parents can feel like their lives were good and they made the right choices for themselves. And sometimes it's covering for them feeling like they didn't make the right choice for themselves and they just aren't ready to face that. So a lot of times it's really for the parent, it's really not looking out for your interests.
Mm-hmm. Dale, any last thoughts?
No, that the last thing you said was the thing I was thinking, the whole idea of validation, that the parents are in some cases trying to get a validation of their own choices by having their child make the same choices. And it irritates me. The whole thing about expecting the cultural expectation that people are going to have children, I just think is bizarre. I think it's really unfortunate. It's strange that people actually have to confront that and feel guilty about not making this very challenging choice. They shouldn't feel guilty about going a different way. Mm-hmm. I just wish that would be less the norm.
Yeah.
To have that put on them.
It's hard enough being a parent when you want to be a parent. Pile upon that feeling like you either didn't want to or weren't ready emotionally for it. That's
and there
just
are
a lot.
Communities, most of them religious, that do put pressure on parents to not just have children, but have a lot of children. Mm-hmm. You look at the Catholic faith or the Mormon faith, and that is
the quiverful.
Quiverful movement.
Yeah.
If one of those parents felt like Mercy did, where she just felt like it wasn't right for her, too bad, or you're gonna lose your whole social network if you go against that norm. Mm-hmm. It's completely unethical.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.